back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone.
We could listen to the whole song. I like that song. Hey, and welcome back to the show. This is Boomer Life on CL 650. We're talking about Element Lifestyle retirement, about the next stage of your life. When you retire, you don't need to be shuttered away from your family and what you love to do. It's a time when you should have freedom to express all the things that you maybe couldn't have done when you had responsibilities working and raising
to make
children.
New discoveries.
Yeah. That's the voice of Candy Ho, Director and Vice President, Marketing and Corporate Relations at Element, and your dad is a major figure in retirement living here in British Columbia. We're going to talk a little bit about the history in a moment, but you have a philosophy, and your development at King Edward and Cambie is called Opal by Element, that you want to have this intergenerational play, and seniors have so much to give. And give us a couple of examples about your son, for example, and there's a great story might have seen on YouTube or on the news. So talk about how the children benefit, but the older people benefit as well.
Yes. So the one on YouTube is about a man who lost his wife for about 6 to 8 months. He was in deep depression, didn't want to do anything anymore, completely lost his compass and direction and lost all connection. So he went into this grocery store, and there was a little girl who said, "Oh, it's my birthday today. Can I have a hug?" And then that guy just suddenly, from that one moment, feeling that love and purity and curiosity, just let go. And he was so inspired by this child who had no filter, no hesitation. And that hug, he was just, crying. And then from then on, they've maintained this relationship. The little girl, the 4 or 5 year old, is now visiting him every week for at least an afternoon. And they're like family now. And then
he's got something to look forward to every week,
he said now he's happy like as ever. And also with my son, when he was just even like a 1 or 2 year old, he had this incredible affinity to seniors. So we used to hang out at Oak Ridge Mall during the winter times when he wasn't in school. I was trying to bring him to a place that was fun. And every time he saw a senior, and there's lots of them at Oak Ridge, because there's a senior center there, and that whole area, which is near where we are, Opal, had a lot of seniors. He would go up to every one of them, petting them and hugging them and kissing them. And there was you would just see the seniors' eyes light up, like feeling like there's just this little kid that appreciates them so much. And I could say really, like, that's what we're trying to create opportunity for at Opal, for all, across all ages, so feeling relevant, feeling still important, and having the opportunity to not just have that one moment of hug and kiss and energy, but be able to share your wisdom and experiences, go through all of the things in life, to not talk about the work anymore, but the growth that you've been through, that these children need to be inspired by traditional values and skills and perspective, because they listen. They just have this openness, and they can sense that wisdom, and they're drawn to it. So we would have almost like a life experience sharing kind of a session guided by, childhood educators that create that environment which you wouldn't have otherwise, whether it's at home or anywhere else.
Well, it's better that he talked to the seniors at Oak Ridge Mall, because my oldest is 14, and they played at the play area there. And I think that carpet hasn't been changed in the 14 years. I don't know what's in that carpet, but I would imagine if you sent that to a lab and the kids are all running around in there, it's like, every time I thought, well, they got to change it every few years. No, it's still
I'm sure they sanitize it somehow.
I don't know.
How does it retain the color? I don't know. I don't worry about that. My son never got sick playing there, but
we always used to, sanitize their hands afterwards. Anyway, it's a fun place to hang out. Now, that's the philosophy behind Opal at Element, right? But you have this beautiful structure that is going to be the community that you're developing at King Edward and Cambie. And as you mentioned, your shovels are going to be hitting the ground here in the next few weeks. So it's going to be online when? In 2019?
2019, first half of the year, probably first 3 months of the year, will be opening. But in the whole time leading up, the reason we call it not a sales center, not a leasing center, but it's a discovery center because there's a 1/3 of the space that will be dedicated towards kind of involving the community. For the ones who purchase or rent, they would be participating in the focus groups, actually actively shaping our program so that they can experience different instructors in wellness and then let us know which style works for them, what kind of which instructor works for them, or like in the menu planning, how much is French food, Italian food, Chinese food, and is it classic French, is it nouveau French? Yeah, all that is
Northern Italian, Southern Italian.
But also some cooking classes and wine tastings. And so it's a discovery center because, when I talk about retirement again, it's new experiences and discovery, having that freedom and liberty to be able to experience new things. And, so in your home, maybe you've wanted to do exercise, but never really quite got that motivation to get out there. It takes so much effort to get out there. So that's why, like in Opal, we have all these different kinds of wellness and exercise programs for people who are extremely fit, even at 74. Like my dad works out every single morning for an hour. And then there's my mom who's been fairly passive, and this is the prime example of when it is brought to your home, right? I found a yoga instructor that has this amazing spiritual energy. So she's so warm and loving and kind, and it makes you feel so safe. And I found her for my mom, and I actually, in the beginning, I kind of felt like, oh, my mom might be resistant, because a long time ago when I tried to introduce her to yoga, she got really scared. And again, it was the wrong fit of an instructor. And then I found this one. I'm like, it's perfect. And Mom, I want to bring this into Opal for you and for everybody. Could you give it a try and give me some feedback? And so this instructor went, and I thought that maybe she would say, I'll think about it, maybe. But within 20 minutes, she clicked. And could you please come back every week at this time? And she's been at it for 8 months.
Oh, good for her.
And so now she's really she's got challenges. She has Parkinson's, and sometimes she freezes, and she's got tightness, all these things. But she's gotten so much better, and she looks forward to it every week.
All right. Now,
when it's brought to your home.
That's right.
Yeah, then you have opportunity to explore, and you don't need to be afraid of what skill level you are at, because our classes will be, this is focused for the if you have shoulder pain or neck pain. This will be a focus for if you have challenges with postural alignment or balance and strength. And then, so different kinds of opportunities to explore. And that will also be at the Discovery Center.
What I've also noticed talking with you and your father when he was here for the first show is that this can take a long time, right? So this building will be done in 2019, so that's still several years away. And you plan long term, and can take a whole generation for things to change.
Yes.
So and we're looking forward past Opal by Element. You're going to be back in Langley, which is kind of a full circle with your dad and his earlier career. So tell us about the story when your dad was started in Langley and opened the eyes to the municipal council there about what retirement living could look like.
Okay, so with Crescent Gardens, I had touched on that before. We had independent living and complex care, but nothing in between. And my dad felt that was a missing component. There's, some people really go from totally independent to suddenly needing care, depending on what actually, what the condition is and what it could be. Yeah. Anyway, so he wanted to bridge that gap. But by the structure of what was there before, he couldn't actually do it, and he had to be very innovative and creative in structuring a model at this facility in Langley, and structuring the company to set up a different entity just to be able to offer assisted living, as in daily assistance with personal type of activities like dressing and grooming. But before in BC there was no assisted living.
Really?
But when he formed that and he designed it and structured the company to facilitate that and able providing that, the government officials walked through and why don't we do that? Why isn't there more of that? And then my dad said, because of these limitations and the way the health care is set up.
So he led them by the hand to see where they could go. And did he set something up? Help them set something up?
Well, they then formed the Registrar of Assisted Living, and he worked with them, kind of forming some of defining what kind of care and like you can't be offering like complex type care in assisted living unless you have certain checks and balances in place and so on. So the registrar of assisted living was kind of inspired by what he did at Langley. And he also formed or led the formation, co-founded with other industry leaders. He's very collaborative that way. He's not at all about, oh, this is like, I want to do this as my business and I want to succeed. He actually wants the whole industry to collaborate together to make life better. And he doesn't care how long it takes. It's just to change status quo. And so we formed the Senior Living Association, which now gives that BC seal of approval and, represents 260 operators. Wow. Yeah. And
so that's the thing, is it can take a long time.
It can take a very long time. And so with Langley Gardens, that was like, the last one was completed in, I think, 2003 or so. But then the township of Langley has this community plan. And so our Oasis by Element is across from the Langley Event Center. It's 17 acres with Latimer Creek beginning in our property. So that's why it's called Oasis. Yeah. That's why it's called Oasis. It's a natural kind of surrounding.
Right.
And then, of course, Langley, there's a lot of agriculture. So there's going to be a lot of kind of farm-to-table community gardens and that. And it's going to be definitely a very long-term development that is intergenerational. And we have opportunity to put intergenerational into a tower because it's high density in the township's vision, or we could be across the footbridge, right? So that's the kind of thing where we really want to engage the community and get feedback and, we don't want to be innovating and just up in our clouds. It's working with that local community with their preferences and desires and challenges. Because
what you're doing at Opal by Element could be very different depending on the people that are in the building versus Langley,
well,
right?
for sure, because like in the Canby area, they're used to a certain amount of space in their single family home, whereas in Langley, maybe they're used to land and outdoor space. Or in Opal, they're used to certain types of like maybe very gourmet type dining, whereas in Langley they want comfort food. It might be bolognese or hamburger.
Right. Yeah.
So it really then again is working in those focus groups or those public engagement, public open houses for people to come and give feedback and tell us as we plan, because we have the concept and the vision, but the actual programming is up to that community to guide us.
That's the voice of Candy Ho. As I mentioned off the beginning, of a wonderful ball of energy, very positive and outgoing, and I think that's reflected in what you're doing at Element.
Possibilities.
The possibilities,
yes.
what can happen, and that basically up to the residents that live there, what they want to see happen, right?
Yeah, so I would like to say again, the Discovery Center is open to community coming in to give us ideas and give feedback and talk about, we might even just have sessions where they're talking about life experiences and what they'd like to see, what their challenges are, and then we can respond to that.
It's easy to find because a lot of people know City Square. That's at 12th and Canby, across from City Hall, and the famous Kin's Market and Kieran Restaurant are right there.
Yeah.
So if you know that corner of the world, it's right in there, and you can go and have
upper level shops. The whole corner that faces 12th and Canby, pretty easy to find.
and the website is,
Yeah, opalbyelement.com.
All right.
Yeah.
Candy Ho, it's been a pleasure. Say hello to your father and have a great holiday.
He is on holiday right now, otherwise he would have been here with me.
All right, have a great holiday season, and we'll speak to you soon. That's all the time we have for Boomer Life this time around. I'm Zach Spencer. We'll speak to you next time on CL 650.